My name is Roberto Polo, and I'm going to tell you why giving arms to the rebels is a bad idea. First, I'm going to talk about how guns intervention will fail to bring peace and will further split the country. Then I'm going to talk about how the rebels proved to be hard to trust. Then I'm going to talk about how it doesn't make any sense to send U.S. troops and diplomats there. In these points, I'm going to address some of the things by my opposition. So first, gun intervention will fail to bring peace and will further split the country. For this, I'm going to use something that Ryan Crocker, the former U.S. ambassador to Kuwait, Syria, Pakistan, Iraq, and Afghanistan said. This guy, if you want to hear somebody talk about this is the guy to hear. There's a lot of killing and there might be thousands more to come. How will you deal with that? He said, can intervention make it better or could it make it worse? I think there's a very strong current right now that there is not a good option for intervention, I'm sorry. They're going to bring peace, remove the government and stop the killing. The problem, what he's saying basically is the problem is deeper than we can see in the surface. You have to understand, this guy has been in the field for years and years and years. He was in Iraq and Afghanistan, and he understands the problematic behind it. One of the things that he talks about in this interview was that, the problematic, the mistake that we made when we went to Iraq and Afghanistan is that we thought there was going to be a quick in and out, but we didn't know the culture, we didn't understand the culture. So basically, he says, don't go blind. Basically, with my next point, rebels prove to be hard to trust. It's basically what Hannah was saying. She was saying they don't have anywhere to go. They don't have any support. They have to take, basically what she's implying is they have to take guns, if it's Al-Qaeda, be it. But, do we want to deal with this type of people? I'm going to first talk about how the Free Syrian Army doesn't even exist as or the rebel, in other words, the concept, it doesn't exist as the hard poll, BBC newscaster, it says, first army, the Free Syrian Army that you have been hearing so much about does not even exist. A little better title would be the MWG, or Men with Guns, because having guns and firing them in the same direction is the only thing that they have in common. The U.S., do you think that the U.S. want to deal with this type of people? Do we want to trust our guns, our intelligence to these type of people? Ryan Crocker, the former ambassador of basically all the countries that I named before, has something else to say about this. I don't think that we want to be in the business of providing material support, particularly lethal to a group that might be passionate to Al-Qaeda. There's so much information about the links between Al-Qaeda and the rebels. I have more information here. The Director of National Intelligence, James Chopper, testified in front of the Senate Armed Services Committee that we believe Al-Qaeda in Iraq is extending into Syria. Now, the question that an NPR newscaster said, I think that is relevant. Can we trust the rebels' promises? Basically, the rebel promises are, we're ready to make a list of the weapons and write them down and send you the serial numbers, where they went, who's taking them. I don't know if you have seen the news, but what's going on there, it's beyond organization, it's beyond, it's so much chaotic that I don't think that we can trust these people. I'm going to move on to my next point. We would be putting the U.S. troops and diplomats in the line against a Syria country that is prepared for war. Basically, as my opponent said, Syria has been killing these people for years. They have been preparing for this moment for 30 years. As Brian Walker says, the Syrian regime is being prepared for that, for what's happening now for the last 30 years, ever since the massacre at Hama in 1982, where they surrounded and destroyed, basically it was a massacre where they killed tens of thousands. They don't know if it was 10,000 or 20,000 people. And so I think Assad father and son knew that they could be a day of reckoning, and they had organized security, intelligence, and defense apparatuses to be ready. So do we want to get in the middle of it? And another thing is that Syria has been getting, the government has been getting arms, a steady flow of arms from Russia and from Iran. So I don't know if we want to be in the middle of that. My last point, and I'm going to abbreviate it, can the U.S. afford this war? That's another thing. We just spent $2 billion in Iraq and Afghanistan, according to Ernesto Londo from Harvard, from the Harvard Institute. And another cost that we're not measuring when we said $2 billion, it's the cost of the people that come back, and we have to provide help, we have to provide all this other support. He estimates that the final cost of Iraq and Afghanistan is going to be between $4 billion and $4 trillion and $6 trillion. And I'm sorry, the number before was 2 trillion, not 2 billion, $2 trillion. I'm sorry for that. With that, I conclude.